Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. So this webinar is all about automating tracking and reporting on the right KPIs, and Peter is going to be talking to us specifically around CCH KPI monitoring and also Power BI. So just a little bit of housekeeping. So we're aiming to be 60 minutes at a maximum. You can ask your questions at any time using the Q&A function. If you do want to chat to each other, the group chat has been enabled, so feel free to use that if you want to. And just to let you know that we are recording this session, so we will be sharing that back with you. So quick introduction. So whilst I'm talking, so my name's Steph, I'm part of the marketing team at Wolters Kluwer, and I look after our webinars and other events. So that's why I'm here pressing buttons.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Peter Holcroft. I've worked at Wolters Kluwer for 15 years now. I'm senior technology implementation consultant. I'm a data analyst, data engineer, and I work with Power BI and KPI monitoring at Wolters Kluwer.
Great. So in terms of agenda for today, so Peter's going to take us through a bit of an overview of the benefits of business intelligence and KPIs to get started, and then he's going to take us through a demonstration of both Power BI and CCH KPI monitoring, and then we'll just summarize at the end with next steps and take your questions. So Peter, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Okay, so at a very basic level, what we're talking about today is data and what it could be used for. And business intelligence, or BI, is the practice of turning data into actionable insights. And these insights enable business leaders like yourselves to take specific actions to improve efficiency and performance of your business. And BI process includes collecting data, creating models, analyzing the data with queries, creating data visualizations and charts, and producing reports to be used by business decision makers. That's the dictionary definition, but the thing is, business intelligence isn't anything new. People have been performing business intelligence for years. I looked this up, and in 1865, Sir Henry Furness, a banker, used extra information to gain an advantage over his competitors. I'm not sure. I looked this picture up online. I think that's him. If not, I'm sure he looked something like that. But the point is, business intelligence has been around for a long time, and I'm sure all of you are doing business intelligence at the moment. We've been doing it with Excel for years. So why is BI so popular now? Well, just like Excel changed the world of accounting, now we have better tools available to us to enable everyone to perform business intelligence. So BI processes can be applied to both operational and strategic decisions. So strategic BI solutions are typically used by partners and managers to discover what they don't know, to discover what strategic information, analyze it, then use it to make business decisions based on their own experience and knowledge. Non-managerial staff, on the other hand, most benefit from task-specific information, details that will help them perform individual business operations in the most efficient manner possible. Operational BI is very often used to deliver anticipated information, for example, where a project is likely to go over budget based on the time spent so far compared to the progress of the project. And the two solutions I will be demonstrating today are Power BI and CCH KPI monitoring. Although both products are classed as BI and solutions, they are fundamentally different. Then therefore, there's two different propositions based on the audiences. Power BI is a visual tool to analyze data and discover where you're missing a process, and KPI monitoring is a tool to automate and create those processes you took from the insight of your data with Power BI. So one of the good things about these better tools we have now for business intelligence is Power BI has great visuals. And this is just an example of some of the visuals you can get in Power BI. And there's a gallery for Power BI visualizations with hundreds of different visualizations you can add into your reports. Power BI also has the capabilities to configure automatic data load and refresh. So there's no more manual running of reports every month. And the information is always up to date. It's entering a report and exporting it to Excel that could be 4 weeks too late, and you end up with dealing with problems after they've happened. hopefully I won't have one with Power BI because it's the information up to date. It's faster. Once you publish the report, it runs at speed on Microsoft data centers. It's much more responsive than our personal devices can cope with, because you'll be consuming these on your laptops or your mobile phone. And that's another thing. The data is visible to whoever you share it with at any time on your mobile phone or wherever else you would like to consume it. And the heavy lifting's done in the back end elsewhere. And also, Power BI comes with a lot of data connectors, so you can pull data from lots of different sources. There's hundreds of sources that you can import into Power BI. We focus on CCH Central and Excel, but Power BI can take data from many different sources. And the great thing about Power BI is it makes it so easy to just pull information into reports. So this is actually if you haven't seen Power BI before, this is the Power BI desktop version, which we use to design the reports. And you pull and build your report that way. And as you can see, I just give an example there of a calculation, something that you would have in Excel. They're called measures in Power BI. And the good thing is, once you've created that measure here, that's reusable throughout the report. You can just drag and drop it. And you can see there we've analyzed this one here by total age debt, name, client partner. It's literally a drag and drop process to pull these over. So to summarize, the benefits, it's customizable. It's got lots of data connectors. It's a great data insight tool, and the automatic data refresh is a game changer, really. It can handle large amounts of data, faster processing, works on mobile devices, visually appearing. In general, it's user-friendly and just better. Now to KPI monitoring. So KPI monitoring is a tool that CCH offer. Simply put, it's an invisible administration assistant. It never forgets, never takes a day off, and stops issues before they happen. It has alerts in it that alerts people when there's an action required from them. It can generate data itself, like pull data from databases or elsewhere, and generate reports on those. And that can be scheduled as well, just like Power BI, and alert it to people when required. So I've gone through and listed some of the type of things you can do with KPI monitoring and group reporting, because you get live, up-to-date information. But occasionally, there's for reasons you may have in your business, you just want something to come out at the end of the week or the end of the month, or maybe you're not ready for Power BI. We can send those reports to you. And these are just some of the examples of reports that we've built in KPI monitoring. And of course, we can build other ones, but these ones come as standard. And you can configure these at any schedule you wish. We can remind you of upcoming dates, which is going to be really useful. A lot of these require the information to be in central, so you need to have the employees' birthdays in there, for example, or the client's information. Also, you may need an extra field for some of these things. It's great for data cleansing, so you can have alerts whenever there's data missing, incomplete addresses. Perhaps you start to use the assignment manager for extra reporting, but people are putting assignments in without assignment managers. You can just run a report either immediately afterwards when an assignment's been created, to alert the person who created it that, hey, you haven't added the assignment manager, please action it now. Or you could just have a summary at the end of the week or end of the day sent to specific people or a manager, partner, you name it, however you wish. And then on the right, we've got missing timesheet alerts. A lot of our customers take KPI monitoring just for this alone, because let's face it, everyone hates doing the timesheet, and everyone hates being chased for it. So the way we would normally configure this with KPI monitoring is that you will get an alert when your timesheet's due. Say it's a weekly timesheet, so on a Monday morning, you get an email to you saying you have not done your timesheet, please do it. And then maybe at 10 o'clock, you get another one saying you still haven't done your timesheet, please do it. The next email is going to go to your boss. And then finally, that email does go to your manager, who can go chase you to do your timesheet. And then at the end of the week, there could be a summary just to let you know these people still didn't do the timesheet. And the good thing about that is, people don't get upset with the first alert. It's just they're more upset with themselves that they didn't actually action it, because it was a computer that told them instead. We've got a few others here. Document management, notify when documents are awaiting for approval. Just some random ones, expenses awaiting authorization. And this is a new one, Company's House. I used version 10 of KPI monitoring. If you're using an older version or you've not used it before, it came up, added in API access, which is really a game changer for KPI monitoring. It means we can connect into any cloud API. And I hooked this up with Company's House, and we can look up the company registration number that's within Central and pull back all the information. And then we can check to make sure those year ends match what's in Central and alert you if they don't, so that you can go and change them. And we can schedule that to happen, every 12 hours or however you like. We could send alerts to the partners or whoever is responsible for clients to let them know that you might want to chase them because their accounts are going to be due maybe in 90 days. Yeah, you might want to reach out to them, for example, or just as a catch-all to say, right, this client's got a late penalty, something's gone wrong. And when we've implemented that for customers, we usually find that they're no longer a client, just nobody had closed them. Oh, now for a demonstration. So let me stop sharing this. Yeah, this is an example dashboard for Power BI. And when we implement this with customers, we start off with a standard template, something like this. It's actually got probably double the amount of tabs now in it, but we tweak and configure it for you as we go ahead. So if you haven't seen Power BI, I'll just give you a quick demonstration of what it looks like. You can click on anything in Power BI and it filters all the other data, so you can see where that data has come from. So if I do that personal tax, you can see all the other fields have changed. I can see this Miller Dibber client has got a huge amount of debt. If I click that, you can see it all change. Dibber and corporate. You can do it on specific departments, or different specific employees to see where they come. And we can tweak and configure this as you require. And you can have, you can imagine you would have the visuals at the top that are really important to you, such as the WIP balance, age debt, recovery rate, total build amount, new clients. But again, we can change this as required. And in your business, it may be you want to see some information by partner or client manager. You may have your own employee category even. However that is, we can configure these types of filters for you. You have these visualizations on the right where you can kind of see outliers. So if something's not following the standard pattern, that's something you might want to look into. And any visual, you can just click these. Well, you can either just click here and copy image. So you can paste it into an email or Teams or whatever you wish, a PowerPoint presentation. You can also just click share and chat in Teams. So I could chat in Teams and it would send a link directly to this, to whoever I mentioned it to or whichever group. Or you can actually add these into PowerPoint presentations as well. And every visual will have this get insights, which means Power BI does some, what's it called? Data insights into your data, artificial intelligence, that's the word, to try and figure out where that figure came from. It's a bit hit or miss, but it can be useful at times. And you can also just use this to add a comment for other people that you shared this with to see, like, why is this so high? Please, can someone look into this, for example. And you can also export it to PDF, etc., or analyze in Excel. So let's have a look. So that's practice dashboard that you might have. You can also look at how you build by written off data. So we pull in all the practice management data. And again, you can search on any specific employee, or you can click on a client and that will filter things down so you can see what it's made up from. You can actually just search in here. There you go, and find a specific client if you want to look them up, and everything will filter. These are all visuals you can get from the gallery. I mean, we've just put some of the basic ones on here, but there's, like I said, there's hundreds you can add on. Okay, so we can also use it to look at employee performance. And this one here is based on value-based performance, so how much WIP they're bringing in. But you can also we also provide the same time-based, so how much chargeable time you're doing, what performance is based on that way. And you can control click on people to have a look at 2 people together, for example. 3. And you can also look at it as a team. And here's an example of some things you can do. So this one is showing last month. Ignore the dates because this is demo data, but the idea is that maybe in the first week of the month, the information is not that useful because people haven't done the time sheets yet. This would be blank, so we show the previous month in the first week of the month. And we can do some clever things like this here. So this is the unbilled WIP, but it's not simply unbilled WIP. It's been filtered on who hasn't received a bill in the last month, because you may have some clients who have quite a large amount of unbilled WIP because they're a big customer of yours, but you bill them every month. But you can filter them out by saying anyone who's billed in the last month, I don't want them in there. And that's the type of formulas you can do in Power BI and tweak to get the right type of reporting. Departments. Now, you may use offices or centers or some other way. This is just an example, and we can change it as required. But you may want to see your data by department, see your top data are whenever you click on a specific department, for example. Yeah. See how things change. Yeah. Probably not a good example. You can see how quick the data updates. Okay. And you can build matrices as well that will just bring the data down. We also have hours as well that you can bring through. You just drag and drop to bring those over if you prefer. And this is the decomposition tree. I find this really useful. This is just a visual in Power BI that you give it a specific field. In our case, we're choosing the WIP balance, the total WIP balance, and then you choose the categories you want to break it down with. These are all customizable, so you choose how you want these to be broken down. And you just click on it, and you can basically drill down really quickly where that figure's come from. And you can see how useful this would be. You're in a meeting and you're like, why is it so high? Well, you just literally can just click there. You don't have to run a report. The information's there straight away. And so also WIP, you might want to look at your debt as well. Same thing, just as useful. Where's that debt come from? And yeah, there you go. See it's coming down. I added this one in just before, so there we go. You can also do your age debt analysis. So here we've got our total age debt by client. We can see who's got the worst debt. You can group it by however you wish. In this case, we've done it by assignment manager to see who's got the most debt. We can create these are called slicers, and you can make them into little buttons. You can just filter it like that. You can hold control to look at 2 departments, for example, compare them against each other. And then you could just copy that image as we discussed earlier to just see, hey, look at tax, we're beating you, for example. And you can do full-blown WIP analysis. So we've done WIP by assignment type, WIP by department. You've got your overall WIP balance. You can see WIP per employee, per client, and you can really see it quite easily how it's broke down in employee category. You can see it over months, split by offices, or however you wish. We can tweak and customize this as you wish. Chargeable insight. Obviously, you want to aim to reduce your non-chargeable work, so we can see how you're doing chargeable versus non-chargeable. This is a slicer that allows you to change the date range that you're looking at. You can look at your charge rates over the month, how you've compared to the previous month, by assignment type, by employee, and sometimes it will highlight issues with your data, such as internal administration, showing, over 500,000. Not really that useful information. We need that broke down with some new assignment types. We want to introduce some new assignment types so that we can actually narrow that down and hopefully put a process in place to reduce that. And you can also analyze things over time, so you can see where you're spending most of your time during the year. Could help with planning, just to know when people are most likely to take holiday, or when sick leave might come, or when specific types of work are done at what time through the year. Can really help with planning. Client analysis, we can also see when people became a client, when they left, and this is really helps with client retention, because we know it's easier to keep a client than it is to get a new one. So it's something important to keep an eye on. And this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty of Power BI, and we try to provide some real value. We do charge a performance based on specific algorithms that are bespoke to your business. So at this moment, this is just a chargeable target based on everyone's got a target and an amount. And we're actually pulling this field through, not from central employee budget, but we could also do this based on employee category. So each employee category has a specific percentage target, or some other system you have. We could do it on hours chargeable rather than value. And we'll look at a little bit to get the right figures. We can add all that into Power BI, and then it's just a drag and drop, and you can use it throughout. And hopefully you can get a good comparison that way between each employee. And we can break it down to different groups, because it might not be fair to look at certain teams one way or another. And these really are all showing the same data, but shown in different ways. We've got year to date, prior month. We've got it by department here, broken down, and just a different visual here by graph can just help. That's actually one thing I didn't cover, I didn't mention. Where is it up here? Yes. You see it says FYTD. We can also add in your financial years, so we can make sure the figures are actually showing whatever works for your financial year, just to make that clear. Then we've got non-chargeable performance. Same thing as chargeable. You want to reduce your non-chargeable. Lower is better. And we can do the same analysis on that. And just a demonstration of the type of visuals you can get in Power BI. I mean, I've been blocked. I knew I shouldn't have updated this. This number has little fishes going around. Oh well. Here's another example. So here's a leaderboard. This is showing who's reaching the highest on the target. And you can have pictures in Power BI of each employee if you wish. And we have a customer who has this running in their kitchen, and this will update throughout the day as people do more work, and you can actually see yourself move up. So it's a good little bit of gamification if you want to. And the key influencers, that's again artificial intelligence that Power BI does. But as I said, you can do that on each individual visual anyway. Okay, so that is Power BI. Has anybody got any questions about Power BI? I know I shall leave questions to the end. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show you KPI monitoring now. So KPI monitoring, if you're using a version of KPI monitoring less than version 10, you'll be used to using quite a clunky Windows application. Well, it's all browser-based now. It still runs on a server in your office, but you can access it from the browser within your office. This is what it looks like. In KPI monitoring, you create alerts based on queries. So this is an example queries. We've got a long list of these sample alerts that will come when we install this for you. I'm going to have a look at the most common one that we set up, missing timesheets. Okay, so if I click on here, you'll see a list of all employees with a missing timesheet. This one's set for daily timesheets in my database, so I've got a long list. And this is effectively what KPI monitoring does. It creates a list, and then you can alert based on this information. So if that's a query, pulling back the information of all the missing timesheets. Then we can create an event based on it to say, that this person's got a missing timesheet. Okay, so the way this works is create a new event, you give it a schedule, and you can choose from a standard list here, like every 30 minutes, every Friday at 5 p.m., or you can create your own schedule here. You can say whether it's running a holiday or does it rely on another event, and then you create. So you can actually have other triggers as well, so it can pull off another query if it wants to have other information or connect to the web API. That's a bit more advanced. In general, we'll have one query and then we'll have a deliverable. And most of the time we do email as the deliverable because that's quite simple. But actually there's a load of options of delivery you can do here. So we can create a file. That is actually quite useful if you want to I use it a lot for making a CSV file. So which can then be attached to an email of data. So, you could put in employee name, and then you would have employee name, like that, then a comma, for example. And you could just carry on doing that. And there's an option in here to repeat, which I'll come to in a second. But you can repeat it, so you would have a long list of employees with missing timesheets, for example. And you would just choose where to store that file. That's just one example. So you can run a script, which is a programmable script written in .NET or Visual Basic. You can run a program. You can submit SQL straight into the database to make a change, which is a bit risky, but you can do it if you want to. There's an API, and that's really powerful. So you can connect any of that data to a cloud API, effectively a webhook somewhere. So that could be Zapier, Power Automate, for example. So say you had one on new clients being created. You could send all those data to Zapier, and then it could then take that new client data and send it somewhere else to action something based on that information. You could do it on a new document being created or whatever. You can also choose the delivery method. Email is the most common one we use. It's straightforward. You can also do text message using Twilio. Webcast actually creates a web page on a file that you can then import somewhere to use. For example, in Central, you can have a homepage that will load up web pages. So you could just choose one of these webcast HTML files that's been created. Some other content you can do charts. I prefer Power BI for that personally. Reports. So this is where it gets really powerful. So reports is using SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. So that report could be an Excel document. It could be anything that SSRS supports, a PDF. And we have used this with customers to generate data statements. So we generate the same data statement you would have in Central, pull up a list of clients, your debtors, generate the data statement, and then email them automatically to say, you owe us money, please can you pay? And there's a bit more flexibility in KPI monitoring because you can build as you require. We can actually add in 2 reports. So why not also add into the same email we're going to send the customer the actual bills that made up the invoice, so they can't come back to us and say, hey, you never sent us the bill for that, we're not paying it. So we can do that. We can generate all the bills and we can actually put it into one PDF and attach that. The files, we can just attach files as well. That works quite well in combination with the create files. So we create the CSV and then we can attach that file by specifying the same file again. You can use all these fields in here. Anything in curly brackets is dynamic data. And there's some built-in fields like current date, etc. So when it comes to emailing, you will have noticed something. If I give that missing timesheet example again, we'll go back to preview. Colin Bennett has got 5 missing timesheets, right? We don't want to send them 5 different emails. So what you can do in KPI monitoring is group them together and split the emails based on a field. So if we tell it to monitor, for example, the email here, anytime that changes, it will start a new group. So we can say, okay, these 5 go to Colin Bennett, the next ones go to JH, or whatever he's called, Mark Bluefish, for example. And it will just split the emails up that way. And that becomes really powerful, actually, because you can see you can have employee name, timesheet end date, and that will just repeat. The yellow section will just keep repeating in this table down. And you can fill in loads of data. This is where you can run those reports I was showing and have it all within an email. Or if there's loads of data, maybe you want to export it to a CSV file and attach it. Might be easier. If you do want to do Excel files, you need to use the reporting engine, which does take a bit longer. So sometimes CSV files just a bit simpler. And then you can come down to advanced. So let me show. So subscribers, standard is just, that's like Outlook, right? You want to add someone in, you just literally type the name in here, add them, and it will always go to that person. But if we want to do something more advanced with missing timesheets, we would say, actually, we want to send this email to whoever's in that email column. So we would choose here the email. But then we want to take it to the next level. We want to break that email up based on a specific field, group people by the email, so that Colin Bennett will get his own list of missing timesheets, and Mark Bluefish will get his, and that's how we'll split it up that way. Okay. So in here is the web APIs. This is where you set up the web APIs. I've got an example set up in this one, but this is where you would set up Companies House connection. So you can use the reports. Again, that's the SSRS that we'd set up. And on the left here, you can also monitor all the events. So the schedule will list all your events running. This is just my demo system, but you'll have a list of, say, your missing timesheets that are running. And you'll be able to see the status of them, which ones are pending. You can see when they've checked and when they've triggered, and if there's any errors. So you can always go in and check. If somebody says, oh, I didn't get that missing timesheet alert, well, you can always come in here and find out if they did. You can see the email deliveries going out. You can see the text messages going out. You can see pending, sent error, file deliveries, webcast, report generation, actions, etc. All that information is there. Okay. And as I said, we've got the subscribers. That's effectively all the users. What you can do is link it. So we can link it to the employees in Central. So I choose here. So you don't need to type in all the employee details. It will just automatically pick them up. anyway, somewhere along there is that. And then you would just choose last name, for example, and that will fill all these details in, so you don't need to put those in. It's just an example, and you could do the same for partners, etc. Because sometimes you might want to send a query directly to partners, for example. So discard that. But I just want to come back into the queries just to show you. Now, this might not be for everyone. But in here, you will get access to every table within Central, okay? And you can pull that information in. So example, here we've included employees and the time processing period. And these are all the columns that are available to you that will come up in that final data retrieval. And you can sort it by specific types, fields if you wish. And effectively what you're doing here is you're creating SQL code, okay? So it's the user interface for doing SQL. It does help to have some SQL knowledge. If you do have that technical knowledge, it'd be very helpful. And if this isn't for you, then we can always generate these for you. You can link the tables together, and you can also filter. You might want to exclude specific employees. What we try to do is not put any filters in here that need to be maintained. We prefer to pull in extra fields from Central. So we would say you might have an extra field called exclude from missing timesheets, for example. And then we pull it in that way, rather than making someone come back into this system. Would be the ideal. You can also, if you know SQL, you can see you can add in calculate columns, and then there's all those little default ones there for you. You can combine text, look up dates with different types, etc. It's all standard SQL. You can group the data, do sub-filters, and then you can actually see the SQL it produces in the end, and then preview the data. Then you would just update it and build your queries off that. And the events off that. And the events, so you've got queries and events. Each event will pull back from a query, but actually they can pull back from the same query. And if I look at one here, so this one says WIP over X amounts, and you can see we've actually entered some values. And if we look at this query here, look at the filters, what we did was we put a question mark in, which then when you went to generate the event, it prompted you to fill in whatever you required. So we're saying we only want WIP that's over 90 days old and over a certain amount. And we're going to send that to the client partner. And that's how it works. And you can take what we normally do when we're implementing this with customers is we'll choose one that's close to what we want, and then we will copy the event and paste it and change the name and just tweak it to our need. But it's a good starting point to get the information out that you require. Okay, I think I've gone on long enough. I think we should come up for questions.
Hi, Peter. Yeah, thanks very much for that. We have had a few questions come through. So Vince would like to know a bit more about SMS texting and what is required for the solution to work.
Okay, so the SMS texting uses Twilio. You basically need an account with them to set that up effectively, and you can use their features. Now, Twilio just actually recently added in WhatsApp business account to the portfolio. So I'd be interested to use the API actually to send WhatsApp messages. I haven't tried it yet, but in theory, it should be possible.
Had a couple of people ask, how do they get this? And I think what we can do is, if you're interested, let us know and we can put you in touch with your Wolters Kluwer account manager to discuss this with you in more detail. There
was another message from Tina. Can you report on not recording sufficient chargeable time within a timesheet if you set a target chargeable time percentage? Yeah, definitely. I guess that's that'd be in. I guess you could do that in Power BI or KPI monitoring. Actually, you could do either of those. Set an alert based on that. So yeah, that's definitely possible.
Katie's just popped in a question. I presume you can get either Power BI or KPI on its own. You don't have to get both. I think that's true, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally think they both work together really well. Power BI is greater for visualizing the live data right now, and KPI monitoring is better for putting something in place, an alert or process that you just want to run over and over again. And Power BI lets you look at the data, realize there's a problem, you come up with a process, and you put that process in place, and then hopefully you'll see the changes in Power BI with time. But yeah, absolutely, they don't require each other.
Stephen's just quickly asked, do you provide training and consultancy? Yes, we do.
Yeah, so I mean, with Power BI, I don't know if that question is more about KPI monitoring, but KPI monitoring, in general, that's the way we work. We can train you up to do it yourself if that's what you want, or sometimes it's easier, I find, just to pay us to come in and create some of the alerts for you, because we can probably do it, 4 times as quick as a new person could do it. So it's better time spent, and then you can take them and adapt them as you require. And with Power BI, the way the implementation works is we spend about 10 weeks with you producing the dashboard and tweaking it with your feedback every week. So we will deliver the dashboard to you. You spend a day doing your feedback. You send it back to us. We do a day making our changes, and then another half a day, implementing it on your system. And it's a process that goes through every week. And one of the benefits of that is it gets everybody in their practice learning how to use Power BI. It gets everybody thinking about practice performance. And it's an agile process, because sometimes people are new to this technology, and it gets people thinking about what do you actually want to display. And you click on the visuals and you go, actually, that's not telling me the information I want. And sometimes you just don't know what you want to see until you've seen what you don't want to see. So it works really well. It's a really beneficial process, I think, for everyone involved.
Yeah, Stephen's asked, do all users need advanced Microsoft licenses or just those creating the data and reports?
Complicated question. That's down to Microsoft licensing. All our customers that use Power BI that I'm aware of have Power BI Pro licenses, and everybody consumes it as a Power BI Pro license. Microsoft are treating it just as another application like Outlook, Word, Excel that you need a license for. Having said that, there is a possibility if you store your report in premium capacity, which obviously Microsoft charge you for, then you can view it without the Pro license. And you can actually install that desktop version of Power BI for free, and you can consume the data on your own laptop for free or with desktop. But the moment you try and share it with your colleagues, that's when you've got to get the license. That's the way Microsoft's system works. I think it's about, I haven't actually looked up the price recently, but it's something like £7 a month. It's not a huge amount. It's just like another Office product.
Great. Okay. Well, that's all of the questions. So I think we can wrap up there. Yeah, just left to say thank you very much for attending today. So we will send you a copy of the recording. We'll include the slides as well if those are just helpful. And if you've got any follow-up questions, if you know your account manager, then obviously reach out to them, or we can facilitate a meeting with them or call. But yeah, thank you very much for attending, everybody, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you very much.